Hi guys, so we are doing 1-3 multiply fractions, okay? So this homework is 19 through 38. It's just the front page of the last page of the packet. So what's important when we multiply is we know we have to go straight across, okay, when we multiply. But it's also important for us to reduce when we can, okay? And so if we can reduce, we want to. It makes our process easier, and then we don't have to do it at the end. So when we reduce, though, we reduce diagonal, and we see what can we divide out of both of the numbers. So if I have 1 and 6, I can't divide anything out of both of those. And 3 and 5 cannot reduce any further either. So now I just get to multiply straight across. So 1 times 5 is 5. 6 times 3 is 18. So your answer is 5/18. Number 20. What can I reduce first? Can I reduce 3 and 1? Nope. 1 is as low as you can go, so you won't be able to take anything else out. But I can reduce 2 and 12. I know that 1 times 2 is 2. I also know that 2 times 6 is 12. I can get rid of the number that's the same, the 2's. And so what do I have left? A 1 and a 6. Okay? Now that it's reduced, I can multiply straight across. Okay? So I have a 1 times 1 is 1, and I have a 3 times 6 is 18. 21 through 28, it's the same thing, okay? So we're going to reduce, and then we're going to multiply. So I cannot reduce 7 and 2. I can't divide anything out of both of them. The same with 1 and 8. If I have a 1, I can't go any lower. So 1 and 8 will stay the same. So what I do now is I just multiply straight across. 7 times 1 is 7. 8 times 2 is 16. Number 22. I can reduce 2 and 12. Okay. I know now I'm going to come up with my factors. 1 times 2 is 2. And I know that 2 times 6 is 12. So I'm going to reduce out or divide out the 2's. So I'm left with a 1 and a 6. Okay? Now I can multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 6 is 30. I love it when this happens. When you have the same number, you can cross them off and make them ones. Because I know 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 7 is 7. So I want to get rid of my bigger number and reduce it down to my smaller number. Okay? So I've changed those both to ones. 5 and 9 do not reduce any further. I can't divide anything out. So I multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 9 is 9. 2 and 3 do not reduce any further, and 1 and 4 do not. So now I multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 and 8 cannot go any further, and 7 and 4, there's nothing I can divide out of both of those. So 1 times 7 is 7, 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, so we can reduce both sides. I'll show you how. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, I can get rid of the 5's. I keep the 2 and I keep the 1. Alright, so I've reduced that side. What about 6 and 9? Well, I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and I know that 3 times 2 is 6. So I can get rid of a 3 on both sides, keep a 3, and keep a 2. Now I can multiply. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 2 is 4. Both of these have 1s in them. They cannot reduce any further than 1, so I can just multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 8 is 32. Remember, I love it when you get the same number because I can cross it off and just make it a 1. Okay, now I can multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 7 is 7. Okay, so 29 through 36 is a little trickier because these are mixed numbers and I have to make them into an improper fraction, and then I can reduce, and then I can multiply. So this one is a little bit more work. When you change these from a mixed number to an improper fraction, you take your bottom number times your whole number, so your denominator times your whole number, which is 6 times 2 is 12, and then you take that and add it to your numerator. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And you have it over the same denominator, over 6. Okay? And then I do the same thing. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9, over my denominator is 2. Okay? So 13 and 2 won't reduce, but 6 and 9 will. So I have 3 times 2 and 3 times 3. I keep my 3's, get rid of a 2, keep a 3, get rid of a 3. Okay, so I've kept my 3's. And now I have 13 times 3. If you're not sure, grab your multiplication chart. We have 13 times 3. Oops, can you see it? 39. And then I have 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? Then I have to unwheel it, okay, if I want to change it back into an improper fraction. So I say, how many times does 6 go into 39? I follow it down, find a number close to 39 without going over. 36. Follow it over, it went in 6 whole times. So 6 went into 39 6 whole times. I've used up 36 of those. So how many are left? 36, 37, 38, 39. So I have 3 left, and my denominator is 6. Okay? So if you want to leave it as an improper fraction, because that's the directions, it would be 39 over 6. If you need to change it to a mixed number, you would say it's 6 and 3/6. Okay? So let's try the next one. 3/4 is already a fraction. I don't have to do anything particular with that. Times, now I have to wheel this or change it into an improper fraction. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17 over my denominator of 2. 3 and 2 won't reduce, and 4 and 7 won't reduce. So I just get to multiply this. So 3 times 17, here's 17, 3 times is 51, over 4 times 2 is 8. Now, to put it into a mixed number, how many times does 8 go into 51? Go down my 8 column, find a number close to 51 without going over, so that's 48. So it'll go in 6 whole times. 6 times 8 is 48. So if I use up 48, I have 49, 50, 51, 3 left, and my denominator stays the same at 8. Okay? So these would be your improper fraction and your mixed number. So I'm going to wheel this. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9, over 8 times 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, over 3. I can reduce both of these. Okay? I know 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. I am going to get rid of my 3. Keep this one. Keep my 1. I can do this. I can take out a 2 from both of these. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. Get rid of my 2. Keep my 4. Keep my 5. Okay, so now I multiply straight across. 3 times 5 is 15. Over 4 times 1 is 4. Now if I change it to a mixed number, 4 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. If I use up 12, I have 13, 14, 15. 3 left over 4. Okay. I have to wheel this one. Here's your answers for this one. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 5, times, this one I don't have to do anything, it's already a fraction, so 2/3. Can I reduce anything? Well, if you're not sure, let's see if 3 goes into 16. Does 3 go into 16 evenly? No. So I cannot reduce these two, and I can't reduce these two, so I can just multiply. 16 times 2 is 32. 15 times 3 is 15. Now I change it to my mixed number. How many times does 15 go into 32? Look on your multiplication chart. 15 goes, here's 30. Okay, so that's 1 twice. 15 goes into 32 2 times. 15 times 2 is 30. If I use up 30 of those, how many do I have left? I have 2 left, and my denominator is always the same, so it's 15. Okay? 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. My denominator is 4. And then don't let this one trip you up. 6 over 1. That's how we write a whole number. Okay? I cannot reduce 13 anymore, but I can reduce 4 and 6. 4 is 2 times 2. 6 is 2 times 3. I'm going to get rid of my 2's, because they're the same, and keep my other. Okay? 13 times 3, 2 times 1. Well, what is 13 times 3? 13, 1, 2, 3, 39. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay? I want to change it into a mixed number. How many times does 2 go into 39? 2 goes into 39. Oops, can't see it. 2 goes into 39 right there, 19 times. So 19, 2 times 19 is 38. If I use up 38 of these, how many do I have left? I have 1 left over 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Denominator is 3, times 3 is my whole number, so I write it 3 over 1. I can cross these 3's out and make them 1's, because they are the same, and then I can't reduce any further. So I have 16 times 1 is 16, 1 times 1 is 1. Another way to write that is just 16. 16 over 1 is 16. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3, 17, 18, 19. Over my denominator is 8 times 4 over 1. 19 and 1 do not reduce, but 4 and 8 do. So I have 2 and 4, 4 and 1, and get rid of my 4's, keep my 1 and keep my 2. Multiply, 19 times 1 is 19, 2 times 1 is 2. Change it into my mixed number. 2 goes into 19. How many times without going over? 9 times. 2 times 9 is 18, so if I use 18 of those, I have 1 left, and my denominator is 2. Keep it the same. Okay? Last one of these. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33, over my denominator of 8, times 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, over my denominator of 2. I cannot reduce either one of those. Okay? So, what I have to do is multiply straight across. 33 times 11 is 363. 8 times 2 is 16. Okay? I want to see how many times 16 goes into 363. 22 times, right? Because that would be too much if we went that one. So, 352, 22 times. So, 22. If I had 363, and then 16, sorry, 352, okay, so I have to subtract it. So 363 minus 352, 1, 1. So there's 11 left, right? So 22 times with 11 over 16. That's your answer. The denominator is always the same. Okay, so now we're on the word problems. Linda walked 3/4 of the length of the Tremont Trail before stopping for a rest. How far had Linda walked on the trail? Well, here's the Tremont Trail. So it's 3 1/2 miles times 3/4, because she walked 3/4 of the way. So I need to flip this into an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. My denominator is 2, times 3/4. I cannot reduce either way. So 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 4 is 8. Now I have to see how many times 8 goes into 21. 24 is too much, so 16. So twice. 8 goes into 21 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. So now I have to figure out how much is left if I've used up 16 of these. So I'm going to count up. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I have 5 left, and my denominator is 8. Okay? So 2 5/8 miles. Last one. The city plans to extend the Wildflower Trail to make it 2.5 times its current length in the next 5 years. How long will the Wildflower Trail be at the end of 5 years? So here's Wildflower Trail. It's 2 3/8 miles long, and it's going to be times or bigger by 2.5. Okay? So now I just need to solve. 8 times 2 is 16. 17, 18, 19. So 19 over my denominator of 8 times 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, over 2 is my denominator. So that stays the same. I cannot reduce any further. So when I multiply, I have 19 times 5 is 95. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Now I want to see how many times 16 goes into 95, so I use my chart. Find a number close to 95 without going over. Right there. Goes in 5 times. Okay, 5 times 16 is 80. If I use 80 of these up, how many do I have left? Well, I have 15 left, and 16 is my denominator. So that would be, and then this is miles. Okay? Alright, so that's it for today. Let me know if you had any trouble. I hope this helped.